Okay, we're good. We're recording. Do you feel like you're always looking for danger? I feel like since I was a child, my brain was just always looking for danger. It was always finding, this topic that was dangerous that I needed to hyper focus on. So today, let's talk about why this occurs. Hypervigilance can look like having a fast heart rate, sweating, having shallow breathing, being really sensitive to our external surroundings, being jumpy, having a high level of fear, and constantly being lost in preoccupation and fear thoughts. When we're in a hypervigilant state, it's like our nervous system is looking for danger. As Alan Gordon talks about, we start to view the world through a lens of danger. So basically, our nervous system starts to misinterpret the external world or certain situations as more dangerous than they actually are. But when we're also in a hypervigilant state, our nervous system starts to view safe signals from our body as more dangerous than they are, causing pain and physical symptoms to occur even in the absence of structural damage. To reduce hypervigilance and our pain or symptoms, we can do several things. Number one, slow down. When we're in a hypervigilant state, our urge is to speed up and do everything really, really fast and really frantically. And I've been there. I've spent a lot of my life and many days in this hypervigilant state where I'm just like cruising through my day at this ridiculous speed, trying to do everything all at once. But sometimes we need to actually do the opposite of what the urge is when we're in a hypervigilant state. And so we actually need to slow down. And I know this sounds like such a simple strategy, but it's actually really hard to do because our urge is to do things incredibly fast. And so practice actually slowing down your movements or slowing down your speech. Even when I'm in the office, like during the week, what I'll do is, even if I'm walking to the printer, I'll walk really slow, intentionally, because I'm just doing everything I can to kind of regulate my nervous system, even if I'm feeling hypervigilant or anxious at that point. So try out slowing down your movement and your speech. Number two, practice attending to your breath. Now, I know I say this one a lot, I admit that, but it's really important because like I said earlier, when we're in a hypervigilant state, we have really shallow breathing and really quick breathing. And so when we're attending to our breath, we can actually practice breathing deep into our stomach and making that exhale nice and long and drawn out. And it's a really important strategy because actually doing this and attending to our breathing and staying out of our mind can actually start to regulate our nervous system and help us, actually start to feel safe just somatically. Number three, slowly connect with your body. When we're in a hypervigilant state, it's so easy to get lost in fear thoughts and preoccupation about a certain topic. But if we stay lost in our mind, just believing everything that we're thinking, it's really hard for us to become regulated. And so at first, we need to slowly connect with our body, but this can be scary. So even just doing it for 30 seconds at a time, sometimes you can just start with the breath, but eventually you want to explore pain sensations and your emotional states with this lens of safety. And over time, actually feeling safer being in your body. Because actually learning to attend to our body is really the key to regulating our nervous system and the emotional parts of our brain. Number four, connect with safe people in your life. There's an abundance of research to show that if we actually are socially connected with others, whether it's just spending time with friends or family or doing a hobby with your partner, by doing this, we can actually start to co-regulate. And this is really important Connecting with our loved ones, people that we feel safe with, can actually help us create safety. I know that sounds obvious, but sometimes it's the last thing we want to do. And so, sometimes it's actually easier to regulate a bit in terms of attending to our body or our breathing or slowing down. And then once we're in a more regulated state, it can be easier for us to actually connect emotionally with others. But it's a really useful one to try out because we're social beings. We're meant to socially connect with other people, and it's really important for us. It's really important for our emotional well-being. So really practice, even for the remainder of this week, spending time intentionally connecting with safe people in your life. Number 5, take cues off your body. Now, it's one thing to start to connect with our body, to start to spend time there, explore the sensations, but we also need to start taking cues off of it. So if you wake up one morning and you feel way more anxious than you usually do, that's important that you take that cue and you ask yourself, what do I emotionally need to make it through my day with a sense of safety? It sounds really obvious, but when we're in a hypervigilant state, it's so easy for us to just power through our day at lightning speed. I've done this many times in my life, and it's going to result in you feeling more unsafe and your nervous system feeling more and more dysregulated. So actually starting to take cues off your body allows us to work in collaboration with our nervous system. So practice doing this because it's a really important aspect that can help us maintain recovery from neuroplastic pain or mind-body concerns. And number 6, processing trauma. Oftentimes, hypervigilance is linked to trauma that you've experienced earlier in your life. And so to reduce hypervigilance, it can be really important to actually process trauma in therapy. Now, personally, what I use a lot of is emotional awareness and expression therapy or accelerated resolution therapy. But there's lots of trauma models out there, and it's important to find a therapist that you trust and that, the model or approach they're using fits for you. Because sometimes to actually reduce our hypervigilance more consistently, we actually need to process traumatic events from the past. So I hope this video was helpful. And truly, learning to reduce our hypervigilance is so important to heal from neuroplastic pain or mind-body concerns. But it's also so important for our emotional well-being. I made a decision early on in my healing that I didn't want to live in a hypervigilant state the rest of my life. Now, I will say sometimes I still end up there, but over time it's improved. But we need to do the work and make changes and sometimes do our own therapy to get there. So please put your questions or comments down below, hit the like button, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all next time. Happy healing.